The end goal of this video is to show you how to use Starburst Galaxy to run federated queries. We'll work our way up to that goal in steps by first querying a data warehouse, then using projection to specify which columns we would like returned in our query, and finally running 2 federated queries. You may be asking yourself, what is a federated query and why do I care? Well, federated queries are pretty exciting because they allow you to query data from different sources in the same query. The importance of this can't be overstated. Data federation allows you to choose the data storage option that works best for your organization, saving you time and money. Okay, let's get started. If you'd like to follow along with me, you'll need to first complete the Starburst Academy course titled Starburst Galaxy Getting Started. We're going to be using the AWS US East 1 cluster and PostgreSQL Burstbank catalog that are configured as part of that course. Let's go to the query editor, and I'll find that PostgreSQL catalog in my Catalog Explorer. To do that, I just need to expand the AWS US East 1 free cluster, and here it is. This PostgreSQL catalog is acting as my data warehouse for this walkthrough. If I expand it, I can find the schema that I'm looking for, which is TPCDS with stats. As you may imagine from the schema name, this data is a copy of the TPCDS data. Let's run a sample query on the customers table from this schema. So I can just expand it. I'll find the customer table right here. And then if I click the 3 ellipses here, I have a list of options given to me, and I'm going to choose this first one so that I can just run a quick query, and it copies it right to the clipboard for me. So let's run this. Okay, and that came back, and you can see my results below here. Now let's run another query on the customers table, this time using projection. Projection is just a fancy way of saying that we want to specify which columns the query should return. It's always a good idea to use projection when you can because it's less work for the engine. And this query is going to select just the first sales date identifier, first name, and last name from the customer table. It further limits the results to first sales date identifiers less than or equal to 2,450,000. I'm going to go grab the query and copy and paste it in here. And if you're following along with this, you can find the query and the instructions below this video. Okay, so here's my query. I've pasted it in, and you can take a look just to make sure that it looks the way that you would expect it to. I'm going to highlight this and just run selected, so only that query is run. Okay, and here my results came back, and you can see I got the columns that I was asking for. Next, let's take a look at another table in a different catalog, the TPCDS catalog. We're going to use this table in our federated join, so it's a good idea to get a look at it first. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open up the TPCDS catalog, and we're going to be using the SF1 schema. And the query that I run is going to select the address primary key, address ID, and city from the customer address table. So again, I'm going to copy and paste the query in. Okay, here's my query, and let's run it. Okay, so now I have an idea of what those columns in that table look like. So now let's move on to the exciting part, federation. We're going to run a join on 2 tables from 2 separate catalogs/data sources. These are the Lakehouse Burstbank and TPCDS with stats catalogs. For this join, the TPCDS data source will provide the customer's first name and customer's last name, and the Lakehouse Burstbank data lake will provide the customer's city, customer's state, and customer's country. So again, I'm going to grab the query and paste it in here. I've pasted it in, and I just have to make one small change for mine because mine is actually called Lakehouse Burstbank 2. Okay, so that should be good. Now I'm going to select this query and run it. Okay, now if we take a look at query details over here, and then advanced, you can see the tables that were being pulled for that query, and you can see that 2 of them are coming from TPCDS, and 1 is coming from the Lakehouse Burstbank catalog. So that's data being pulled from different sources, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Okay, it's time for the final query of the video. This one is going to join data from 3 tables in 3 different catalogs. Again, I'm going to copy and paste in the query, which you can find in the instructions below the video. So let's go back to Query Editor. And I'm going to go grab my query. Okay, I've pasted in my query. And again, I'm going to change the Lakehouse Burstbank in mine to add a 2 there. Okay, looks good. So let's run this. Okay, I've got my results here. Let's take a look at the query details again to see the list of tables in the query. Keep in mind that this PostgreSQL burst bank table is coming from a data warehouse, while the lakehouse burst bank table is coming from a data lake. And we were able to query both of them without worrying about where the data is coming from. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.